You spent months trying to find a deal. You finally found the right business. You shook hands. You told your family this is finally the one. And then one call near the finish and it falls apart. Not because the business was bad, not because the price was wrong, but it dies over something small that nobody put on the table early enough. And now you're starting over with nothing to show for it. Or maybe you haven't even yet found the right business and you're still looking, you're still saving, you're still picturing it. Stay with me anyway, because I'm going to walk you through exactly how to make sure that when you do find it, you actually get to keep it. I've watched deals die at the finish line more times than I can count, and almost every time it could have been stopped. So let me show you the 5 things that quietly kill business deals before it ever closes, and how to spot each one before it costs you the entire deal. I've closed over 600 of these transactions. I've been named the #1 business broker in the country, and I see the pattern over and over again. Deals almost never die from the obvious problem. They die from the people behaving around the problem. And the 5th one I'm going to show you is the one buyers and sellers almost never see coming, and it's usually the one that actually ends the deal. So stay with me for that one. Here's what most people believe. They think a deal lives or dies based on the business itself. Good numbers equals a good deal. Bad numbers is a dead deal. And of course, obviously, sure, that business and the numbers matter. But I've seen great businesses fall out of contract, and I've seen messy little businesses close clean and smooth. The difference is not the business itself. The difference is whether the 2 things stayed alive through the whole process. Every deal runs on 2 things: momentum and trust. That is the whole model. Momentum is the deal moving forward week after week towards closing. Trust is both sides believing that the other is being straight and honest with them. As long as the deal keeps moving and nobody feels lied to, there's a pretty good chance it will close, even when problems show up. The second you lose momentum or you lose trust, the deal starts to die, or at least it begins to die. Every one of these 5 mistakes kills one of the 2, sometimes both. So keep that picture in mind: momentum and trust. So mistake number 1, messy books. The seller cannot clearly prove what the business actually makes. The tax returns say one thing, the bank statements say another, and then there's cash floating around that no one can really verify or explain. I've had a deal where the seller ran his personal truck, his boat, and his kid's cell phone bill all through the business. And when the buyer asked him to separate it out to show the real numbers, couldn't really account for it. And the buyer wasn't mad, he just stopped believing the numbers because he couldn't validate them. And once a buyer stops trusting the numbers, they stop trusting everything else. They start to doubt, what else is wrong here? What else do I not know? And trust is gone basically means the deal is gone, or it's on its way out. Mistake number 2, the hidden problem. And this is the one that stings because it's so avoidable. The seller knows something. Maybe it's a big customer about to leave. Maybe it's a lease that has a really difficult landlord, as an example. Maybe one of the employees that runs the whole company is not very happy and he's just getting a sense. He's looking around. And instead of saying it up front, they sit on it, hoping it doesn't come up. The problem is it almost always comes up. I've watched a deal die just recently because the seller never mentioned that his biggest account, almost a third of the revenue, had already told him they were leaving. The buyer found it in due diligence, and it was not even a lost customer that killed the deal. It was just the hiding of it. It was the dishonesty of it, or the lack of transparency. The buyer thought, if he hid that, what else is he trying to hide, rather than just being upfront and adjusting the price and the terms to make it work. Point is, the trust was gone. Mistake number 3, dragging your feet. This one kills momentum slowly and quietly. Somebody takes 4 days to answer a simple email, and the paperwork sits. The attorney goes on vacation, and nobody is pushing. And week by week, energy levels start to just leak out, and the deal begins to dissipate. And here's the part that people miss. Time does not help a deal. Time gives both sides room to get scared, to get nervous, to second guess, to find other options. A deal that stops moving forward starts to die, even when nothing technically is wrong. Mistake number 4, going under contract before you actually are ready to pay for it. Let's say a buyer falls in love, signs the LOI, only to start figuring out how to fund it. They have not even talked to a lender yet. They're not sure how much cash they really need. So the deal goes under contract and just sits there because the buyer is scrambling and the seller watches for weeks wondering if this person can even close. And the momentum dies. Trust dies. And the buyer, who gets emotionally all the way in, walks away embarrassed and out of money because they spent so much time on the process not being prepared. Ask yourself this quiet question before you sign an LOI. If the bank were to say yes tomorrow, do you actually have the cash to finance your portion of the down payment? If you don't know, and you don't know what that amount is, then you're not ready to sign anything yet. You need to get pre-qualified and get pre-approved with a lender to know your numbers and know you're ready. And mistake number 5, letting emotions take over the finish line and fighting over something small. The deal is basically done. There's an inspection. I'll give it this as an example, real life example. Just last week, there's an inspection that finds a cooler that needs work, or a truck. This one's just a generic example, a truck that it was older than expected. And instead of handling it like 2 grown-ups, the buyer reopens the whole price and tries to grind the seller down over it. Let me show you how this math actually plays out. Say the business clears about $150,000 a year for the owner. The repair in question was about $8,000, a significant amount. A fair buyer says, hey, let's split this, or let's knock the price off by $8,000 and moves on. They try and find some sort of middle ground, even if it's a discount off of the whole thing, to cover the repairs. But the buyer gets greedy and tries to chop $40,000 off of the $8,000 issue, and it just went downhill. The seller, who has other people interested, feels scammed. Not that they really were scammed, but that's the way they feel. They feel nickeled and dimed, and they walk away because they have other options. So the buyer fought over an $8,000 bill and lost the business that would have paid him $150,000 a year profit after servicing all the debt. He won the argument, but he lost the deal. That is what emotions do at the finish line. It can kill both momentum and trust at the exact moment when the deal was, and should have been, still alive and definitely solvable. Now, problems themselves are normal. Every business has a few. There really aren't any businesses out there that don't have a couple of issues at least. But the deals with real problems still close all the time. The ones that die are the ones where somebody stalled or somebody hid. Momentum and trust was lost. Once in a while, a deal just genuinely can't be financed, and that's not one of the 5 issues. But the 5 that we just walked through always are up to and between the buyer and the seller. So if you're brand new, focus on these 5. Get your money and your financing lined up before you ever go in contract, so you never have to be the one who stalls. If you've done a few deals already, watch for the hidden problems, because the more experience you get, the more you assume people are being straight with you. And that isn't necessarily always the way it happens, and then you're blindsided. So here's the one test you can carry into any deal. Before you make a single move, ask yourself, does this keep the deal moving and keep everybody honest? If the answer is no, then don't do it. That one question would have saved every deal I had just described. So let me ask you something, and I really want to know. Tell me the one thing about business you would most be scared to find out after you'd already signed. Drop it in the comments below. I read the comments, and I think the patterns are worth talking about. If you want to go deeper on this, I have a free school community where I walk buyers through how to find, analyze, and buy a small business step by step. There's more than 30 hours of training, and there's no cost to join. So that is in the description. If you want, join us over there. But remember the simple part. A deal almost never dies from the actual problem. It dies the day that you stall it or you surprise them. So do neither, and there's a good chance that the business is yours.